Hello, happy Thursday night. This video is going to be in relation to my TikTok live on September 2nd about the whole mole situation in my Discord, to put out some corrections and some proof to back up the words that we said on the live. I find this easier than actually doing it on TikTok, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm going to try not to make this into a very long video. I know people tend to get bored. And this is kind of boring. I mean, if you weren't in the situation, it's probably not going to make a lot of sense to you, but I'm still going to put it out there. So watch it if you want. If you don't. If there's something that I said on the live that I said I would put in this video and I forgot, please leave a comment and I will happily correct that later. I know people look at this situation and kind of roll their eyes because it's a Discord. They're likely to have moles in them. However, with my Discord, I do take it rather seriously. It's a private Discord with many people. Well, it was with many people on like opposing sides. I don't like being surrounded by people who think the same. I think it's healthy to have people with different opinions, thoughts, so we meshed well together until we didn't. And this isn't going to turn into a bashing session. That's not what I'm going to be doing. I know it's opposite on the other side, but I'm not doing that. I have seen lives that have went on for days and days about this situation and completely trashing people that did not need to be trashed. And everything leading up to the thing that's an actual issue doesn't even matter. That's the sad part about this. It doesn't even matter. But I'm going to explain and show screenshots. Unfortunately, I can't get them bigger than what they're going to be on here. So either scroll in or, I don't know, put it on TV or something, because I don't got time to figure out how to make these things bigger on screen. So, as most of you know, that I have a Discord, and there was a mole that came to Revelation in July. And I take my Discord seriously. It's a private Discord, where people can vent. They can express different opinions. They can support different people, and everybody respects that. And it was working well. It was working well for a while. I take the space seriously because people share things that they wouldn't necessarily want out public, but it's a group of friends, and anything that we did say in there never went out to the public. Example being this whole Cajun Navy Gen thing, until Brie brought it out to the public. So there was a mole, and it was targeted more so towards Cherry, even though Quad was brought into it a bit. It was more targeted towards Cherry, because when Cherry came into my Discord, she made it clear that she was friends with Cajun Navy Jen, which was perfectly fine because, like I said, all different supports in there. She would try to talk to us and try to make us see a different side of Jen to give her a chance, when it would come up in conversation. And that's perfectly fine. Along the way, Cherry would see a change in Cajun Navy Jen. Jen would be on lives, letting little pieces of information out about Cherry. And I'm sure if you saw the TikTok live, which it's on this channel as well, you can watch that. Cherry gives the whole backstory to that. So along the way, Cherry basically needed to vent. That's what she did. And this mole took screenshots and sent them to Jen, and then it's caused this whole shitstorm. I, of course, wanted to find out who the mole was, because I don't want a mole sitting in my Discord comfortably and making people paranoid and feeling like they can't share things without them being taken out of the Discord. So with that said, we had made a small little mole chat where it was me, my mods, and a few people in the Discord, where we got together and we were trying to figure out who it could be. Granted, we didn't have any proof. Like Cajun AVGen was not giving up the person. So it was just kind of like going through the list and seeing people like that we didn't really know, or maybe that weren't as active as other people. It was just basically pulling straws at that point. Well, and I didn't remember this on the live at the time because I know Crazy Cajun Mama, all these Cajun names, Jesus. Crazy Cajun Mama came on panel and she mentioned a situation about Jen, and I couldn't remember exactly what it was. But I did go back into chats and I refreshed and I remember what it was. And I also went to Crazy Cajun Mama and told her about this. Now, when we're in the mole chat, we had like a few people where we were like, could it be or couldn't it be? So we came up with a stupid idea. Yes, it was stupid because we shouldn't have done it, where we were just going to throw names to Cajun AVGen. Okay. And one of those names was Crazy Cajun Mama. So Cherry had texted Cajun AVGen saying, is it Crazy Cajun Mama? I know, I'm sorry. And Jen would be like, no. And then we didn't think she'd reach out to her, but she ended up reached out to Crazy Cajun Mama to ask her why she's like being accused or whatever. Stupid move. Yes, I know. This morning I took full accountability with Crazy Cajun Mama and I said, I apologize for that. We were just tempting it and seeing if maybe a name that we threw at Jen would stick. And it backfired. She went to Crazy Cajun Mama and they had a conversation, and that was that. So then Cherry had found, like, this is gonna be all confusing because like y'all weren't there, so just try to bear with me. So in a screenshot that Jen had sent Cherry of the mole, there was a tiny, tiny bit of a profile picture shown. Well, it looked like Collage's profile picture. Now, Cherry went to the chat, and I'm going to show screenshots. All right, so like I said, if you can scroll in, because I don't know how to make these bigger. So this is Cherry, basically in my Discord, showing, and if you scroll in, you can see like a tiny, tiny, tiny thing above at the left. She's basically saying, like, give you 10 minutes to fess up kind of thing. And I'm going to show you everything that happened. There it is closer. Oh no, that's the actual person's profile picture, I believe. So this is the whole conversation that was going on. That one was her comparing them. I didn't click on it, but the white one was like of the tiny bit one. So this is Cherry asking, so does everyone agree this is the same profile picture, comparing the person's profile picture to the tiny little screenshot that she had of Jen's? This is people agreeing. These are people reacting with 100% to her comment. This is her now tagging Collage. Trying to go through as fast as I can that way. Not taking forever. Up there because it's something different. Okay, so that was the collage situation. I by no means am watering it down, as Brie likes to state, because it was awful. I take full accountability for that. I've told Brie, I've told many, many people that it was awful situation with the collage situation. That's not something I normally do unless I have 110% proof. There's no excuse why that happened. We all apologize profusely to Collage. There's really not much more we can say about it. The things were said, unfortunately. You know, they weren't nice, not by just me, Cherry, Quad, but others as well. So while they sit on panel and make fun that we compared a picture, they're forgetting that some of their people were in there agreeing as well. Okay. They have also apologized, just as we have. So voice chats had happened that night. I was in those, like, I think one of them that happened with the collage situation, but then later I was unable to be around, and Bree had left and came back and started accusing Crazy Cajun Mama of being the mole. She said that she had made up all of these lies to infiltrate her community, because Crazy Cajun Mama used to be Ryan's mod, which Ryan debunked. Um, so yeah, so basically what happened with CCM was the same as what happened with Collage. Falsely accused of being the mole, and falsely accused of infiltrating Bree's community. Okay. I'm going to show those messages now, those comments. This was the day after. Where they were basically going at Crazy Cajun Mama in the comments. And then Sheena made that comment, with the fact you were working with Ryan and came into this community. And this is Ryan coming in and debunking it again. And this was Crazy Cajun Mama reaching out to Quad, where she's telling them that they then went into her live and harassed her. This is Quad speaking to Bree, asking for people to leave Crazy Cajun Mama alone. This is Bree saying no. There's absolutely no proof that CCM spied for Ryan. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. This is my apology to Collage, to just show that I did apologize to Collage. Not only here, but I also did it in Bree's Discord. Give me a second. This is Bree in Crazy Cajun Mama's TikTok DMs. And this is showing the date of the DMs. So this happened before they came into her live and harassed her. You're just going to have to pause to read it all because I don't want to spend like 10 minutes on one screenshot. All right. Okay, so after that whole situation happened, Bree had reached out to Cherry and asked her if they could talk. Cherry then said, could Pink Sands join? Because I mean, in reality, why would you need to talk to Cherry? It's my Discord. So we got a little group together. I think it started July 5th. Was it July 5th? Let me make sure. Yeah, it was about July 5th. So we made a small chat where basically we got together and we spoke about the mole. So I'm going to share some screenshots with that conversation. Now, to start off the whole where the quad situation came, Planty's name was brought up by Cajun Navy Jen. Apparently, I wasn't in this call with Cherry, Quad, and a few other people. Basically, like the people who were doing the mole situation. They had a call, and Cherry had asked Quad if she wants to do a phone call with Cajun Navy Jen. And because, I mean, in reality, some of the mole stuff was about Quad. And Quad, in a sense, to Cherry's perspective, kind of freaked out about it. She only did that because, you know, she kind of panicked. It's a normal reaction. I mean, I don't know if Quad wants me to actually say why she did, but I understand why she did. It's anxiety. And Cherry didn't know this at the time. So in a sense, it was weird to Cherry why Quad would do that. And I had asked other people that were in that call because I didn't want to just take Cherry's word. I wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page. Not that I don't trust Cherry, but I like to get, you know, all of the input. And they said, yes, that she did kind of panic a little bit. Not that it was a red flag, but they were just telling me that, yes, Cherry's correct. She did kind of panic a little bit. Cherry had mentioned you could do star 67 so nobody can have your number, etc. But Quad didn't want to do it, which is understandable. So when we were speaking about everything that Cajun Navy Jen and Cherry had discussed, this came up, and I'm going to try to say it so I don't confuse anybody, but Cajun Navy Jen had reached out to Skip and asked Skip to facilitate a call with Planty. So just threw Planty out there for no apparent reason. So it confused us, like, what's going on here? Why is Planty's name being involved? And this was around the time that Cherry was telling the same story of what happened on the voice call with Quad. So, in a sense, there was confusion over that whole situation. It wasn't Cherry telling like misinformation or getting her story wrong. It was just confusion all around because we didn't know what the hell was going on. When Bree had reached out to Quad, Quad had said, I didn't want to give Cajun Navy Jen my number. So in a sense, Bree thought Cherry was leaving that out of the situation, but that's not what Cherry heard from Quad. So it was just a bunch of misunderstanding all around, not on purpose. But the phone call, I don't see how that was the key evidence to prove it was Quad. And I'm not saying like Bree didn't have a right to question Quad being the mole, because in a reality, sadly, everybody on that list was a suspect. So we didn't know. I mean, everybody was like thought of and questioned, and like, what have they been doing? What kind of comments did they leave? How well do we know them? Where else have they been on TikTok? I mean, it wasn't just Quad. So that's not the issue here. But I'm still going to scroll through and let you see some of the conversation. And you see there, why was this call with Cajun Navy Jen so important to her? Anyways, nobody told her that Quad thought it was important to have a phone call with Cajun Navy Jen. Because then in this next one, you see Cherry say, why wouldn't she be willing to talk to Cajun Navy Jen? So it's not Cherry it's just the whole thing wasn't understood. It wasn't anybody who was giving misinformation or setting something up to make it look like what it's not. What these are? Oh, these are from Cajun Navy Jen. And mind you, right there, she said, Pink, do you mind if I share in our mod private chat to get their opinion? That meant the chat with me, Crystal, and my mod. Bree, Crystal, and my mods. That was it. This was between Bree and Quad. At the time, she was trying to get Quad to admit she was the mole. And these were between Cajun Navy Jen and Quad. Now, this is Bree analyzing those messages between Cajun Navy Jen and Quad and circling things that seem suspicious.
I think that Cherry should do that in this. Okay, please hear me out. I don't think that Cherry should do that, and this is why. I think that her silence, Jen's silence, is loud as fuck. Like, especially because the fact that I was like, please don't say anything to her to incriminate you. And I think she doesn't want to incriminate herself on either end. She wants it to be exactly what it is. Like, she never gave her up, but she's also not defending her like she did everybody else. And I think that the reason she's doing that is because I've made it seem like I am so confident, as if I have some type of like proof somehow. Like, so that if I think that if Cherry does that, it's gonna look like I was bluffing, if that makes sense. But I want to point this out with these messages, okay? Here's the thing. Quad, when she was in that phone call, she was making I mean, she was uh, causing a riot over this shit, okay? She was like, people are attacking me. I have people in my comments. I have death threats. But look how Jen responded to her apologizing about this, okay? Like, oh God, no. I mean, like, she, like, I don't mind, like, I mean, so you telling me you got all these 51 death threats of that, 51, um, over you saying you have a file, or somebody, this person saying you have these files on you, but yet Jen's like, oh, it's all fine. Yeah, I don't mind. I want to make people like think about that. Like, this was a message done like 2 days ago, 2.5 days ago, whatever it was, like for the simple fact that she needed, um, to show like, because of course that's all the messages between y'all because you messaged on a burner. Also, let's remember this. Cherry asked Jen, did Quad ever personally reach out to you? And she said nope. And here's proof that that's a lie because she did. Also, she said she has witnesses that she refused to talk to Jen. That's a lie. She didn't refuse to talk to Jen. She refused to talk to Jen with Cherry. She said she would talk to her with Skip. Ping, I don't hate you at all, and I understand that you don't want to make the same mistake, but I would never, and I have never actually, like, that's something that I don't like being wrong. And not that nobody likes being wrong, but I don't like to make a fool of myself. And of course, I don't want to accuse someone and it not be true. But there's so many things that are just like, because here's the thing, just like almost like with a trial, sometimes you're never going to have the weapon, but you have everything else around it. And that's what you have to go with. And I think that we have more than that. Like the lies, like her saying, no, she didn't reach out to me. Her saying, I mean, then her doing that, and then Quad and making it seem like she's getting all these death threats when Jen doesn't even seem to care. And then Jen defending people like Collage and Crazy Cajun Mama, like defending them, like going on and on until like we get the point that it's not them. But with Quad, like literally, she said one time, like, it's not Quad. And then the rest of the conversation went how it went. And I even said I was reached out to Quad and everything. And she literally doesn't say nothing back, but texts me about Christy. Um, God, I can go. There's just, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I feel like so many people were hurt by this. And there's a chance that Jen will never tell us straight up, yep, that's who it is, other than being silent like this. And I, as much as it sucks, as much as it hurts, like, yeah, like Quad's been, I mean, I used to be a lot closer with Quad until a lot of things that she's done over and over, but it's not fair for her to do this to someone and be able to get away with it. And that's exactly what will happen because no one is ever going to be straight up like, yep, it's her, if that makes sense. Like, I think that we can try to, like, well, I already have approached Quad and I could see how the rest of the conversation goes, but I hope this makes sense.
Okay, so I thought I screen recorded the 5-minute one. So I'm just going to play that on my phone.
I'm gonna I'm gonna give you the perspective. The fuck is this noise that I have and that I truly believe to be true from everything that I do know. Okay, so Quad, oh my God, for quite some time now has felt like we shunned, or not shunned, but we replaced her. Um, she was a part of like the inner circle or whatever, and then was pushed out. Which, as much as it might seem like that to her, that never was the case. And I've explained this to her, but she still feels the way she feels, and that's fine. But because of this, she has done these certain things and will even lie about certain things. Let's say, for instance, the thing with Nicole, with like her husband. I mean, with with her putting up her picture, making fun of her, and then she, Erin went and did all of that. And even though, like, you went in there and never said that you didn't support her, I thought that was horrible, but just shared what you felt about the grave. She flipped out and she automatically made it about like no one caring about her, even though that wasn't the case. Okay, and then that same exact day, I apologized to Nicole, and I also sent messages to people. I was on panels with people saying it was Quad or us, and like start like letting them know like this was not Quad, this was this was Erin, blah blah. And she, in a recent message, the last time she had messaged me a few weeks ago, whatever, she told me that we didn't, actually, however long ago it was, when all this shit went down, and she was saying, like, why did Erin feel that way, all that. She was saying that we let people think that it was her for 2 weeks, which is insane because that's absolutely not what happened. So the point, because I can go over a lot of examples, but then this voicemail would be fucking very long, but, like, it's a pattern of, like, constantly being like, I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. And because of how she feels, it ultimately goes back to how she feels about not being in this position or whatever, which is, I hate that because, anyways, so here comes along Erin and then Skip. And I don't know if you know this, but like Evelyn was really, really close to it. Evelyn did not even know that she was close with Skip. For her, Quad had always made it seem like she's just friends with her to keep the peace between me and Skip, which is crazy because me and Skip talk. Like, I don't need Quad to be that bridge, like, but really they are actually close, and that's just what it is. So Erin and Skip give her validation, the validation that she feels like I don't give her or no one else gives her. They defend her in ways that, and now even to the point where they're like, even Skip told me the other day, Quad gets blamed for everything when, like, literally, like, for what did she get blamed for? Other than that's the last situation, which she was not really blamed for it. No, like, other than Allie making that comment, it was not this big old thing where we're like, it's Quad. Like, I don't know what she means by that. But anyways, so they always there to defend her no matter what. Like, even Skip being like, I don't care how what defense get, like, going, what she feels like we don't do for her. Okay. Here comes KJ Navy Jen, which is a friend to Skip, her close friend. And she apparently has weeks and weeks of stuff, Jen said. And we don't know how long she's been giving her shit, And well, Oh, wait, that's right. And so I think that that's where this came from. Like, she was giving this stuff that was happening behind this person back to someone who she feels like she deserves her loyalty or whatever. I'm looking at it from like a psychological point of view, because like it really has like kind of come down to that, because of how, I mean, she gets very, very offended and emotional over like the thing with me, and that hurts me. I hate that. I hate that I've made her feel that way. And I kind of feel like this is kind of my fault. Now, not this situation, but kind of everything, that it's kind of like a snowball effect, because somehow I've not been able to make her feel the way she needs me to make her feel. And I hate that. But I think that she got that with Skip. And I think that this happened. And yeah, like, yeah, yeah. Anyways, this is a long message.
Okay, so that was the 5-minute one in that screenshot that I didn't record. Okay, so that was July 7th. That was in the morning. And Bree and I did have a 17-minute phone call. On that phone call, she did not express it's not Quad. Okay, I want to make that perfectly clear. She did not state that at all to me. If she did, I would have replied this to Evelyn when Evelyn messaged me. I'm not going to play her voice messages. Basically, it's kind of the same thing as what she types out, that Bree went to her, explained about the whole Quad situation, was trying to convince her, blah, blah, blah. And there you go. So this was after the 7-7 conversation that Bree and I had. And this is what I replied. See? So I would not have, I would have been saying, oh, well, I thought Bree didn't think Quad was a mole. I didn't. Myself and my mods did not hear Quad is not the mole from her. Period. And this also proves that when Bree said on her live that didn't leave the chat that we were in, it most certainly did. This is what Quad is talking about. It wasn't Cherry going around to everybody saying Quad's the mole. Okay, yes, she spoke with Bunny. Who else did she go to? Please tell me who else she went to say Quad is the mole. You definitely went to other people, Bree, and this is what Quad was talking about. Okay? If you didn't go to other people, there wouldn't be a need for you to go in HQ and say Quad is not the mole. It shouldn't have left that chat or the chat with the mods that I agreed you could share to, because I knew those people in there wouldn't go around to anybody else and say Quad is the mole. That is the issue in this whole thing. Okay. So right here too, I wanted to mention as well, because Bree had a small comment on her live that said, I just spoke with Cherry, and she laid it all out, and I'm 98% sure it's Quad. Okay. That was from Evelyn. Evelyn had asked me to tell Cherry to unblock her, to have a conversation. So the conversation with Bree happened before Evelyn and Cherry spoke. And then this was the day that Bree was kicked from the Discord. Okay. This was Cherry basically expressing her feelings about Madison. No, she doesn't agree with Madison, what Madison does. Whatever. This is the whole. I didn't take screenshots of the whole friggin' thing because it would have been forever. I'm just giving like the gist of it. And I just crossed out irrelevant things. This is the issue right here that I had. Fez actually feels terrible forever being a part of anything with Rez. Madison doesn't give a single shit. She went on to defend Fez. Okay. And that is the issue I had with Bree. Because for months on end, Fez was welcomed back into their circle under an anonymous name. I want no part of that. And I should have had the respect to come to me and say, look, we're friends with Fez again. And I would have removed myself from the situation completely. I'm sure most of you might be aware, but Fez and Rez had doxed me. And you can't sit there and tell me that Fez just sat back and watched. Because she was on every video commenting. She was tagged in every video. There's no way she just sat back and watched. And she's also had more than enough time to reach out and apologize for shit that she's done. But she hasn't. So I want no part of a cat or former cat. I don't care how much people say they changed. I don't want no part of it.
Is because the people that I want to talk to about it won't answer my messages. The reason I'm addressing this publicly is because the people that I want to talk to about it won't answer my messages.
Wait a minute. Let me do that again. Thought I had that muted. So after I kicked Bree from the Discord, she had reached out and messaged me, and I didn't respond because one, I really didn't want to, and two, I don't like speaking when I'm angry. So this was on her live.
The reason I'm addressing this publicly is because the people that I want to talk to about it won't answer my messages, which is why I have to speak about it publicly. I want to say, Quad, I know me and you are not on good terms, and I don't know if we ever will be. But one thing I will say is that you're being lied to. You're being lied to, and it's not fair to me, and it's not fair to you. I absolutely 100% thought for a moment that you might be the mole in that Discord. I never denied that. But tonight I'm going to go over every little piece of what happened that made me think that, in the moment that I stopped thinking that, while other people continue to think it. because you're being lied to. And no matter what I feel about you, no matter where our friendship is or is not, a lie is a lie and the truth is the truth. Period. The reason I'm addressing this publicly.
So, I mean, that in itself tells you, because she wasn't getting the response that she wanted, she was going to take it public. That in itself is ridiculous. So, I mean, that's basically all of it. I mean, there are like little details that can be added in here and there, like quads, messages to Bri, whatnot, but that's basically the gist of it. There was never, Quad is not the mole to us. There was just kind of ghosting us and just not talking about it anymore. And then when Cajun Navy Jen came back and told Cherry that it's Quad, that is when we reached out to Bri again. And she just basically said, well, it sucks to be you, kind of thing. Not in those words. That's just paraphrasing. And on the live with Cajun Navy Jen, when Cajun Navy Jen went on panel with Bri, they sat there and said that Cherry made Cajun Navy Jen say it was Quad. Okay. Now, and Cajun Navy Jen played stupid. Like, I didn't know if it was Quad. Cajun Navy Jen had the mole's real identity on Facebook. Okay. And I'm going to say this because this person was a very good friend of mine and I know her identity. In fact, I was friends on Facebook with her. She looks nothing like Quad. And we all know what Quad looks like because Quad has put herself out there. There is no way that Cherry convinced you to say Quad and you're just dumb and sit there and say, oh yeah, it's Quad. No, that doesn't fly with me. It doesn't fly with me one damn bit. But to sit there and blame Cherry for something Cherry didn't do, she came into a private Discord and vented. Okay, whippity flip. Cajun Navy Jen was playing the games, the runaround. She was pissed off. People didn't like her. Be a better person than Jen. Be a better person. Maybe don't put out your friends' information a little at a time on lives. Maybe don't tell people her identity. I mean, I don't know. That could be a start. And look, Cherry owns up and says what she did in the Discord wasn't right. She shouldn't have done that. She owns it. She's owned everything she's done. She shared everything with me along the way. She even showed somebody else, I'm not going to name a name, all the messages on screen share. And this person I trust. So for Bri to go live and completely trash Cherry and say that she manipulated everybody, she couldn't manipulate me because I was involved with every step of the way. This is what you're not understanding, Bri. I'm not manipulated. I saw everything. I heard everything. The issue isn't that you thought Quad was a mole. Yes, it's an issue for her. But for me, it's not, because everybody was on the suspect list, whether it was Quad or it was going to be somebody else. Everybody had to be looked into. But the fact is that you did take it out of that small chat and you went to other people and said it was Quad. Because Planty Bunny would go into lives and insinuate it was Quad. She'd also go on videos and comment and insinuate it was Quad. So where's Crazy Cajun Mama's apology, and where's Quad's apology? You're so stuck on this misinformation shit when that didn't happen. It didn't happen because any of the reasoning that you were giving us to try to convince us that it was Quad had nothing to do with the phone call. It had everything to do with your experiences and your history with Quad. That's why I made the comment that I don't have that history and experience with her. I just know her from what I know. And I'd also like to make this clear that I would not have shared any of these messages if Bree wasn't on live sharing messages. The chats that she was in with us for the mole, we had removed her the first night she went live. We had removed her because, well, you're sharing personal messages on a live. And I wasn't going to share any of this, but I was going to prevent you from doing it. But since you keep doing it and keep doing it, I had no choice. So I apologize to anybody who takes offense that their name was in a screenshot, but it is what it is. I own what I did to Collage. Everybody else owned what they did to Collage. Collage herself has accepted our apologies. That is up to her to do, nobody else. And that's basically it. So, like I said, if there's something in the live the other night that I said I would include and I didn't, please remind me in the comments and I will be happy to make another video to show it. Thank you all for sticking through this. Pause and read. Zoom in. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Have a good night.